Right? How does all that kind of interact with our system of criminal justice? Let's bring in our think tank tonight to get through all of this tonight. Joining me tonight, Jennifer Brandt, trial attorney from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Eklund Mercy, criminal defense attorney in Atlanta, as well as Lawrence Zimmerman, also from the ATL. Great to have you all here tonight. Let me start here. Lawrence, I want to go to you first. Doomsday beliefs, extreme beliefs, things that even this woman, her friend, she was friends with him, thinks that he is out there now. Could that set of beliefs, if we end up in a murder case, or even in the missing children case, the abandonment case, could that somehow equal an insanity defense at any point?
I mean, it all sounds insane to me. The question is, does it fall within the realm of legal insanity defense? It certainly is definitely out there. That almost seems, their beliefs seem like very bad evidence against them as to a motive as to why they're doing stuff, and what they may or may not have done, we don't know at this point. Certainly, if I was a defense lawyer, I would take all these things and set it up as an insanity defense. I mean, I think it's definitely going in that direction. I mean, look, people hear, see, believe strange things all the time. This seems sort of beyond the pale.
Eklund, what are your thoughts about the beliefs of Chad Daybell and what's happening in July of 2020?
Well, I have a problem. First off, Ms. Julie stated that Chad told her that he had a dream that somebody had killed Tammy. And at that point, nobody asked following up questions. Nobody wanted to follow up, as he felt that he was chosen and he had visions. And then suddenly the children can't be found. The mom can't be found. It's insane. The issue is that proving insanity, it is tough to prove insanity. That burden is so high. I had a client who can hear from Beyonce and Alicia Keys, and he was still found competent. So my issue is so that burden is so high, and then we don't have any indication that he didn't know or didn't know what he was doing at that point in time. We don't even know what was done. So although I can see, like as an attorney, you're going to try to, deal with what you have, but I don't see an insanity defense winning here.
All right, let's talk about Chad's spiritual authority. Julie Rose spoke about that as well. Take a close listen.
Maybe someone that believes that he really has this role. Maybe he's convinced them that he really has this, authority to do this work of whatever he thinks he's supposed to do. He's been going around to people's houses, having meetings. He's been going around to people's houses, telling them what their past lives were, going around telling people that they're part of the 141,000. And so he has taken on some kind of authority that I don't believe he has.
All right, Jennifer Brandt. Let me walk you through what I'm thinking here. And what I'm thinking is there a possibility these children are alive? Chad has this spiritual... Wait. Chad's got this spiritual authority, right? He's recruiting these 144,000 who will look to him as their leader. Is it possible that he could have convinced someone or a group of people, here, protect these children, don't tell anyone, no matter what happens, don't say anything. And that, Chad and Lori are so focused on that, you believe it could be possible?
I absolutely believe it could be possible. And, even what you said before about the insanity defense, he's not insane. He knows exactly what he's doing here. He's got all these people bamboozled. They're all convinced that he's the spiritual leader. He knows the end of the world is coming. And by the way, where we stand now, he may not be so far off on that. And he could certainly have those kids hidden somewhere. And people, they really believe in him. They feel so strongly about him. Someone would absolutely hide those children for him. So
all right,
I think he knows exactly what he's doing.
Let me take this in another direction, Jennifer. Let me take this in another direction really quickly to our criminal defense attorneys here. Eklund and Lawrence, you're both going to have to answer this one, okay?
All right.
And you may answer differently. I don't know. Here's the question. It's very ethical, and it's something that a lot of our viewers want to know. Let's say we're presuming the children are alive. Lori has told her attorney or attorneys that the children are alive and where they are. Can that attorney disclose that information to authorities?
Yes.
Yes. If
Does that
the lawyer
attorney
believes,
have
sorry,
to?
Go ahead.
Lawrence, go first.
because-
Go ahead.
Oh, go.
Every state's different, Vinny, but the state I mainly work in is discretionary on the lawyer. If the lawyer believes there's a future harm to somebody or future crime, it's their discretion to disclose it. It's not mandatory, but they're allowed to disclose. They're allowed to disclose it. Completely ethical.
Allowed to. Okay. Eklund, what would you do?
I don't mess with children, so I'm going to make a way to. There's a silver lining. There's a way to go about it, a legal way that I don't feel privileged of saying on the screen right now. But there is a certain way to
Okay.
go about it.
Vinny,
I
she's
don't
saying
think she told him, Vinny, she
Don't
didn't
try to
tell
set
him. There's
me
no
up,
way she
Vinny.
told the attorney.
Don't try to.
She's
set
saying it depends
me
on how
up.
much money she was paid in the case.
I mean, wait a moment. There are ways around it, friend. There are ways, but
She didn't tell her.
All right.
She didn't tell her attorney. No way.
no, but she.
I don't think the
but-
attorney asked.
No, so literally,
Yeah,
like,
I don't think they do. But remember, there was a change. Two of the attorneys that were with her
because
initially
it's
are no longer with her.
That's because they don't believe her,
It's an occurring
Vinny.
crime. It's an occurring crime. The kidnapping is currently happening in place. It's like when you know that it's not already happened.
But what
It's
if the
not like
children are totally safe? What if the children are totally safe? They
they're
haven't been
not
kidnapped.
safe. They're not in the custody of the people that they're supposed to be in custody of. So that's a
know,
kidnapping.
Well, if they're not in Lori's custody, they're probably safer because everyone around her dies.
That's
Vinny,
for
you know,
sure. Yeah.
Vinny, if I had a client like Lori tell me that she knew where the children were, I mean, I beg and plead with her to use that as a bargaining chip to help her move forward in her case to reveal that. I mean, there's no murder case then; it's a much lesser
Exactly.
charge. But obviously, you're not dealing with somebody who's rational. And just remember, they sound crazy, and they could be crazy, but there's a difference between being crazy and being legally insane. Every state is different.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got it.
And-
All right, up next, we got to get to the next story. I need more input from you guys in the next story. Aliza Sherman stabbed 11 times, broad daylight, surveillance video of the suspect, but it's been a cold case for 7 years. We'll talk about it when we come back. Aliza Sherman was stabbed 11 times in broad daylight downtown Cleveland on a Sunday. Surveillance video of the suspect, but the case is still cold. Take a look at more.
I had a female caller asking for help, that she said she's just been attacked, and she was just kept repeating, "Help me, help me, help me."
The medical examiner's office told us today that Sherman was stabbed 11 times on Sunday, right down here in this walkway behind the Galleria.
A brutal murder in broad daylight in downtown Cleveland. It happened on March 24th, 2013.
My mother, was an innocent woman that was murdered on what was supposedly a quiet Sunday afternoon in downtown Cleveland.
That's Jennifer Rivchun, the daughter of the victim, 53-year-old Aliza Sherman, a mother of 4 and the wife of Dr. Sanford Sherman. At the time of her murder, Aliza and the doctor were in the middle of a contentious divorce.
Sherman was reportedly heading to meet with her divorce lawyer in the building behind the Galleria at about 5:30 p.m. when the incident happened. She was set for divorce trial with her husband, Dr. Sanford Sherman, this week. Sherman's neighbor says there was a lot of tension between the couple in recent years.
Part of that tension involved a bank account allegedly opened by Dr. Sherman under his wife's name, which, after the death of Aliza, was part of a $2 million lawsuit Jennifer filed against her father.
She claims that her dad opened a bank account, deposited money, and then withdrew it without her mom's knowledge.
But perhaps the best piece of evidence in this case? Surveillance video from the day and time of the violent stabbing.
Police say the person shown in this surveillance video is the killer, but who that person is is still a mystery.
Despite the video and the divorce, investigators made little progress in the case. So year after year, Aliza's daughter would come back to the scene of the crime to remind the community about her mom.
Your smile's so genuine, sincere like no other. You are so very missed, my beautiful mother.
Then, in 2016, a development in the case.
News tonight in the 3-year-old cold case of Aliza Sherman. A grand jury indicted her divorce attorney, Gregory Moore, for tampering with evidence.
The indictment reveals Moore lied to police about where he was around the time of Sherman's murder on March 24, 2013. Moore stated he was in his office when Sherman was murdered, but phone records tell a different story. The indictment indicates Moore was not in his office an hour before the murder and didn't return until an hour after she was killed.
This fact is significant because on the day before Aliza was murdered, she met with Moore to prepare for her divorce trial. But then he contacted her to meet again on Sunday.
Aliza began to text him, letting him know that she was down there. He eventually did respond to her, told her that he was there. She then asked him to unlock the door, which did not happen. And seconds after she informed him that she was going back to her car because it was too cold outside, she was stabbed 11 times.
But lying to investigators weren't the only charges against Moore. He was also charged with calling in bomb threats to 3 different courthouses. And in each instant, the bomb threat was the day of a scheduled divorce trial Moore was handling for other clients. Jennifer Rivchun spoke at Moore's sentencing.
Greg Moore has had 1,522 days and countless opportunities to aid in seeking her justice since her vicious death. Yet instead, he has admitted that he lied to law enforcement about his whereabouts and continues to sit here today without explaining himself or sharing what he knows.
That was in 2017. And with no more answers, that's where it ended. Greg Moore has never spoken publicly, and he has not been charged in the murder of his client. Dr. Sanford Sherman has also remained silent and has never been charged. Which brings us back to the biggest lead in the case and the biggest question. Who is this alleged murderer on the surveillance video?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, let's bring back in the think tank. I want to talk about this lawyer, the divorce lawyer who's representing the victim, Aliza Sherman, 2 days from trial. He's calling in bomb threats for his other cases. Now his client dies. The guy never tries a case, Jennifer.
Well, that's for sure. He's definitely ill-prepared. But, you know, is there a motive here that he would want her dead? If you think about it, she was his client. She's allegedly paying him and using his services. So why would he want her dead? I mean, maybe he wasn't ready for
because
the trial.
Because he never wants to try a case.
Yeah, I see
Every
that.
time he's got a case.
That's pretty extreme, Vinny. I mean, come on. Bomb
it does
threats
sound
are
extreme.
one thing, death is another. It sounds, though, that he probably, it's just very odd that he called her back there and the set of circumstances how this murder happened right at that scene.
No, didn't call her back there, Jennifer. Lured her there, then lied to police and lied to her about being there. Why would he lie? Give me an innocent reason why he would lie, Eklund.
I personally think that. I think that
Ah.
he's probably. I honestly think that I always blame the husband personally, but I think that he was going through a high contested divorce. You have the attorney who's representing her. You know, you have, I think that he's probably just a pawn in a bigger game. You have a $2 million, you know, you have $100,000 reward. You have $2 million being thrown around. We have a rich doctor who has the means, the opportunity to pay people, to snuff people out. And obviously it worked because she is no longer here. Matter of fact, it was a crime of passion. 11 stabs. That's not something to
11
snuff at.
stabs, broad daylight. Lawrence,
in broad
we've
daylight.
got video. We've got video of the killer here. Lawrence,
Yeah,
no one's been arrested. No one's been charged.
I'm not doing that over no unpaid balance. That is something
Yeah,
that
Vinny,
somebody has.
That's right. I agree with that. But Vinny, I think why don't we have a close up of this killer? I mean, can't they hone in on him a little bit, or her? I mean, it's hard to see from that video if it's a man or a woman, but seem so far
tried,
away.
and
Don't we
even
have
when
the
it gets closer.
technology?
So, but
That
Vinny,
just
Even when it
seems
gets
so odd.
closer, it gets a little more blurry. Lawrence, I'll give you the last word on this one. Go ahead.
well, I mean, the issue is I don't understand. I mean, and I am not saying anybody else that someone did this, but it's just very suspicious that the lawyer got convicted of lying about where he was and the circumstances. Why is that? Did somebody pay him to do something to this woman? It's just all very strange. I mean, did the husband, and again, I am not making accusations against anyone. It's just very bizarre that this lawyer lies about his whereabouts. He's gone for an hour and she ends up dead. I mean, this is crazy. I've never heard of anything like this in my life, where a lawyer's being investigated potentially for the death of a client.
Yeah,
Crazy.
and he's been convicted of lying to. He's been convicted of lying to police, convicted of the bomb threats, but no charges involving the death of Aliza Sherman. For him, Dr. Sherman, no charges, never been accused. So we'll see where this case goes.
Hey, Vin,
I'm trying to put
I
a
have a great
spotlight
idea.
on it, so maybe somebody will say something. We got to go. We got to go to the next story. But
Okay.
All right, Think Tank, hang out. We'll get back to you. When we return, we got a lot more to talk about. A lot more. We'll be right back.
This is Court TV.
True crime in real time.
All of America is watching.
It's going to be a very dramatic trial.
I am a homicidal maniac.
This is a case like I've never seen.
We will be covering trials gavel to gavel you won't find anywhere else.
Weinstein could face life in prison.
They cannot prove these were non-consensual encounters.
Exclusive interviews, explosive testimony. Court TV will bring you the most in-depth coverage of this case anywhere.
But now a Michigan appeals court has ruled the charges can be reinstated. Prosecutors say the brothers allowed their mother to die back in 2016. She weighed just 79 pounds at the time. She suffered from an inherited terminal wasting disease, something the defense team for her sons claims attributed to her death, along with a bout of pneumonia. But the Wayne County Medical Examiner says her death was linked to malnutrition. The appeals court ruling last week says there is enough evidence for the brothers to be held responsible for her death and for that case to be heard by a jury. And family court may be closed, but hearts are wide open out in this story in Bradenton, Florida. Little Rainie's adoption by her foster family was years in the making since she was just 7 weeks old. But the Wilsons had to bring the Adoption Day celebration that would typically be held in a courtroom to their daughter in a different way.
Because of COVID-19, we don't get that. She doesn't get that. We don't get those pictures and to help her really explain what adoption is. So I put the word out and I was like, okay, well, there's 5 cars, so maybe we can get a few more. And we were not expecting this at all. And it's just so special.
A representative for a foster and adoption advocacy organization, One More Child, told our affiliate WFTS in Tampa that they've seen more people willing to foster since the beginning of this pandemic. Reporting live from the Court TV newsroom, I'm Julia Janae.
Welcome back, folks. Great to have you with us tonight. We're going to take a look at a whole bunch of stories. But for those of you who maybe didn't watch the show last night or didn't read the internet in the last couple of days, some big news here at Court TV. We have a new member of the Court TV family. Let's bring her back in. Ashley Banfield joins us tonight, hunkered down from her home. Ashley, great to have you aboard.
I'm glad you're in your basement because it's nice and quiet. And I'm just going to forewarn you, Vinny, that I'm in my office and my dog sometimes barks and I just have to live with it. So if that happens, fair warning.
If it happens, it happens. Maybe he'll sniff out some clues in some of these cases we're looking at. Let's start with the Doomsday Cult Mom, Lori Vallow Daybell. And this is the case. She's got 2 missing children. She's got 3 adults in her life that are dead. She's married someone that believes the world is going to end in July of 2020. She's under arrest. I wanted to take a look at her and her demeanor and get your take, Ashley. at different moments of this drama that is playing out before us. Let's begin, and this is body cam footage from the day. I mean, these are like the moments that she has just found out that her husband has been shot and killed by her brother in her house. So let's take a look at that.
Does your husband live here? No,
This is in Houston.
Gotcha.
We just moved in here.
Gotcha. How long have you guys lived here?
I'm sorry?
How long have you lived here?
Like 3 weeks.
Oh, geez. Yeah, okay.
That's why the neighbors don't know us.
Gotcha.
Like, hi neighbor, sorry.
Are you working at all?
No.
All right, Ashley, let me start. I mean, that reaction, that demeanor, like moments after you find out your husband's been shot and killed by your brother.
Yeah, it's one thing for me to say, hi, Vinnie. It's another for you to say, hi, neighbor, when I think the corpse of your ex-husband, or not even ex-husband yet, is still in the house. That's uncomfortable. And don't forget that, look, it seems sport-like to discuss it, as this case is, unraveling. But when you're in a courtroom and you're a juror meeting that woman for the first time, if she ends up on trial for this, or for the myriad other charges that she could face with all the mysteries that are sort of, wound up in this whole story, the only thing you get to know about her is what she looks like across the courtroom and stuff like this. Because this isn't the kind of thing that you easily suppress. This is directly related to the moment of that crime. It's a body cam video. It's police video. It's not easily suppressible, right? And so you get to know what she's like at that moment. I'm a little reminded here of Chris Watts out in Colorado, who killed his 2 little kids and threw their bodies in oil and killed his wife, Shanann Watts, as well. His demeanor was really weird as well on camera out in front of his house within, hours/days of his wife being murdered. So these are the kinds of things that don't get past jurors.
Let's get to the second circumstance now. Now the thing has developed. Her husband's been shot and killed. Now her 2 children, JJ and Tylee, are missing, and she's in Hawaii with her new husband, Chad. Let's take a look at how she reacts at this moment.
Listen, just tell people what's happening. There's people around the country praying for your children, praying for you guys. Why don't you give us answers?
That's great.
That's great. That's great that they're praying for you, praying for your kids. What? You have nothing to say? Did you do something to your children? Are your children still alive? That's a simple question. I've got 3 kids of my own. I can tell you every minute where my kids are at. Where are your children?
Still hasn't answered that question, but what do you think of that clip where she's confronted down in Hawaii when everyone is looking for her kids?
Yeah, I'm extremely uncomfortable because, like the reporter said, I know where my kids are at every waking moment and sleeping moment. And so for her to be so cool about it, walking away from the reporter and not answering the critical question in this case, where are these children? Everyone's worried. How could you not be as worried as those who are praying for those kids? It's uncomfortable. And like everything, it brings up another case. It reminds me of someone else who played shell games with a missing child. It was Casey Anthony. And I gotta say, if Lori Vallow wants this case to be sort of less inky in the press, then she better not do the same things that Casey Anthony did. And that was not answer the critical question of where her missing child was for weeks and weeks on end. Lori's going down that same path.
Now, she's been in a courtroom in Idaho. She made an appearance in Hawaii, but then she was back in Idaho. And I want to show this video because there's a couple things that kind of stick out. First, her appearance. And here she is as she's exiting, smiling, smirking, walks right past JJ's grandparents. Like, just struts right past them with her blonde hair. And somehow she got lipstick. I don't know how that happened. But you can see Kay, grandma, kind of like give her the side eye there. Your thoughts about her appearance in court in Idaho?
So much. Oh, God. So much. First of all, this also reminds me of sort of the Jodi Arias demeanor in a courtroom, that I am better than all of you. It reminds me a little of Casey Anthony as well. I am better than you. I'm beautiful. Can't touch this. And a little like that. Meanwhile, there are children missing and she's not coughing up the location of them. And let's not forget the charge she's facing, child abandonment. You get out of the situation you're in if you just cough up where the kids are. Right? You're facing child abandonment, tell the judge where the kids are. Problem goes away, but that's not happening. So there's something else going on here. And then when the jury again comes into the court, there's no jury in that courtroom, but when the jury does get to look at her and she pulls that kind of behavior, that doesn't bode well either. They don't like to see all the fancy makeup and the fancy hair and the smirk, and they sure don't like to see you walk by grieving, sad family members, because they spot that stuff in a heartbeat.
Spotted a mile away. All right, let's get to our next story, and this one, very shocking. You've got a 27-year-old former nanny, registered foster mom, who is charged with felony pornography. Her name's Nicole Water. Lewd and lascivious exhibition with a victim under 16 years old, obscene material, possession and control, depiction of child sexual conduct, and of course she's got some aliases with it. This is a difficult one. I mean, she's young, but just the position that she is in to be charged with these types of offenses. She was someone's nanny.
She was not only someone's nanny, but she was a registered foster parent, like you said. And so there could be plenty of kids out there who have fallen victim to this alleged predator. There could be plenty of parents out there who are watching you and me right now thinking, Jesus, that woman was in my house. And the sheriff in that location wants you to call because they're very worried there could be many more victims out there. Here, and again, she has 3 different names. Nicole Stearns.
Let's take a listen.
Aliases that she uses.
Yeah, you just froze there for a second. That's, nature of the beast, where we are these days. The video froze for just a moment there, Ashley, and I thought we were stuck. But let's listen to the sheriff down in Escambia County.
Okay.
And so today I want to take just a couple of minutes and talk to you about what we consider next to homicide, probably one of the worst of crimes, and those are crimes involving our children. When we first got the reports on Miss Walter and started the investigation upon the search warrant that was executed in her home, is where we found child pornography. And in that child pornography are depictions of children that possibly are in that home or somewhere in Escambia County. And so therefore we're asking for your assistance. Again, if your child ever had contact with this lady, that you get a hold of our investigator. And again, for the sake of your child, let's make sure that we eliminate them as a possibility for molestation by this individual. Again, she is now in custody. The community is safe from at least this one predator, but we need your assistance.
And the allegations are beyond, I mean, she's making these movies, these videos, in front of children and perhaps with these children. And it's shocking because we rarely see these types of cases involving men, right? It's usually that creepy old guy around the corner or the creepy uncle, whatever it is. This is a little different.
Yeah, it is odd, and it isn't typical for women to be mired in these cases. Not saying it doesn't happen, it does. So the story goes, if the allegations are true, one of the witnesses that tipped off the authorities said that this young woman, again, 3 different names, Nicole Walter, Nicole Steff, or Nicole Stearns, she said that Nicole told her she has clients that have fetishes about her pleasuring herself in front of kids. That's what the tipster told the authorities. And then on further investigation, the authorities were able to somehow interview a 3-year-old girl who they say is a victim of Nicole Walter. And that 3-year-old allegedly told authorities that Nicole had inappropriately touched her vagina multiple occasions. So there are myriad different charges here, not only just with the possession of child porn, but the behavior, the lewd and lascivious behavior in front of kids, and then also the actual sexual acts with children.
So let's do this. Let's put the number up on the screen, just in case anyone recognizes her tonight, either her picture or her name, so they know where you can call. You can call the Escambia County Sheriff's Office at 850-436-9586. I don't know where she's lived. I don't know where she's been, but take a look at that face, and hopefully there aren't more victims. But if there are, they certainly need help with all of that. Final story tonight: Supreme Court, and this one I think would surprise a lot of people, including me, because we don't cover a lot of cases out of Louisiana or Oregon. But apparently, in those two states, you could convict someone at a criminal trial without a unanimous jury. You didn't have to get, 12-0. You could win the trial 10-2, which to me is insane. But finally, the Supreme Court actually overturned a prior opinion that they had and said, that's it, no mas. It's got to be unanimous for serious criminal cases like every other state in the country. And the real shocking part of this whole story is the basis for why they would allow a non-unanimous verdict to begin with. And Ashley, that was the part that really surprised me.
Yeah. So it all starts with, the pesky little Constitution, right? And I keep my handy dandy copy right beside me. It's the Sixth Amendment. It guarantees you a right to a fair trial. And the Supreme Court has many times decided fair means unanimous. It's not written as unanimous in the Constitution, in the amendments, but it is, considered to be fair. So back in 1898, little history lesson here, Vinnie, indulge me. The Supreme Court ruled that states could not exclude Black people from juries. And Louisiana said, well, that's not going to work well with our sort of Jim Crow approach to things. So we're just going to go ahead and modify our state system so that we can go 10-2, or actually, I think at the time they went 9-3. Then it was changed to 10-2. So with only 10 people voting guilty, you could get a conviction. And earlier than that, with only 9 people voting guilty, you could get a conviction, just in case one of those Black people slipped onto a jury and they wanted to convict a perhaps Black defendant. So that was the Louisiana basis. The basis in Oregon was a little different. And I can only tell you what the Oregonians said. Back in, 1934, they made a change to their constitution based on a Jewish defendant. And that guy's name was Jake Zimmerman. And at the time, it was 6 months of news on the front page of that local paper. And the Oregonians' opinion section railed on certain members of the jury who maybe aren't white by saying people of South and Eastern European descent, immigrants, untrained in the jury system. They mentioned the words, the role some immigrants' views play on crime. So that it was sort of a anti-immigrant and anti-Jewish, but more so anti-religious bent to the Oregon statute back then. So that's sort of the history and why they had a different kind of non-unanimous.
Yeah, and amazingly, and it's amazing that it stood up for all these years. The only two states that were doing this. Louisiana got rid of the rule a while ago, but it was still the law in Oregon. So now for serious crimes, it has to be unanimous. So for the hundreds of people who were convicted otherwise, they're all going to get new trials. And it doesn't mean they go free. They get new trials.
Man.
Well,
yeah, they're going to have to sort of pick and choose. At this point, that's what a lot of the prevailing wisdom is that not everybody's going to qualify. And certainly some are so old at this point, evidence is gone, witnesses are dead. It's just not going to happen. But clearly this is throwing those two states into a really sticky wicket, right? Because that's a lot of money to retry all those cases.
Thank you, Ashley. There he is, Juan Martinez, the man who prosecuted Jodi Arias. He's been fired. He's fighting to get his job back. Tonight, the 13th juror speaks. Your reaction on social media next.
We also know that there was no knife that was found up in the bathroom area, right?
Yes.
So we know that you took it, right?
I don't remember having the knife at all afterward.
And you would acknowledge that that stabbing was with the knife, right?
Yes.
And according to your version of events, you would acknowledge that that stabbing was after the shooting, according to you, right?
I don't remember.
Juan Martinez, the man who took down Jodi Arias, has been fired by the DA's office. They are claiming inappropriate behavior in the office. He disputes it, and he is appealing it and fighting to get his job back. And Juan Martinez has also been accused of being an overly aggressive prosecutor in the courtroom by defense attorneys and by the Supreme Court of Arizona. Your reaction tonight on social media, go to our comment of the day from Roger tonight, who says, anytime I've been in a courtroom, the prosecutor was aggressive. You have to be. You're trying to get a conviction. The defense lawyers are just as aggressive during the Jodi Arias. Her lawyers could have been charged with not being aggressive enough. Lawrence, can defense attorneys get bullied in a courtroom? Have you ever seen that?
Sure, all the time. You got to stand up and fight for your client. And a prosecutor shouldn't be aggressive to the point of being unethical. Their job is to seek justice. Defense lawyers and prosecutors are absolutely two different roles in our system.
Carl is writing tonight, if Juan hadn't been aggressive with Jodi, she may have gotten off. Jennifer Brandt, I mean, at the end of the day, if you believe someone is a murderer, you can aggressively question them and cross-examine them when they're accusing the victim of being a sex offender.
Right, absolutely. I think it's a prosecutor's job to be aggressive and to fight for what he or she believes is right and for the state. So yeah, absolutely, being aggressive is what you're supposed to do. And these other things, these are other issues. This is why he's being fired. It's not because he was aggressive. It's because of possible sexual misconduct in the office. So I don't think it has anything to do with being aggressive.
No, but he's been accused by the Supreme Court of Arizona and like the whole defense bar in Arizona. Kim writes tonight, what exactly is an overly aggressive prosecutor? If he was seeking the truth and raised his voice, that is his job. What was he supposed to do? It's not a situation where one says, please tell the court if you did or did not murder your boyfriend and expect an honest answer. Eklund, what's an overly aggressive prosecutor?
Oh, do you have the time? Let me tell you. So we have good prosecutors. We have really good prosecutors, but we also have they're not about justice. It's about convictions. Right. And that's the problem. We have prosecutors who all are about the convictions, all about putting the defendant in jail. They don't care about potential other witnesses. They don't care about other co-defendants. They don't care about, all they see is a conviction. They could care less about your kid's criminal history, could care less about where they were raised. So you do have those prosecutors. Those are usually the young ones. But once you're in the game for a minute, you know that you have to have this type of rapport. That's fine. Be aggressive with the witness. Don't be aggressive with me. You know, and I feel like a lot of prosecutors don't know.
He did his job exactly. I'm being aggressive with you. I'm sorry, Eklund. I was going to read one more comment.
I'll let you have
Lori. Okay. He did his job exactly how he should have, and he got the conviction period. So poor baby got her feelings hurt. Her victim had more than their feelings hurt. They are dead. We need more prosecutors like him. Way too many criminals getting away with crimes. Thank you, Lori. And a big thank you to Jennifer, Lawrence, and Eklund. Great to have you on the show tonight. We appreciate your time, your expertise, and please stay safe.
Thanks, Vin.
Thank you, Vinny. You too.
That'll do it for tonight, folks. We are here every night from 8 to 11 live, bringing you the world of crime and justice, even though some courtrooms are shut down and no one's serving jury duty right now. As always, folks, we'll see you next time. Have a great night. And from a distance, don't forget to hug the kids.